What's up, everybody? Cynda here, and welcome back to another episode of Cynda Talks. E3 is come and gone, and now it's time to talk about how awesome it was! But first we need to make some predictions. I know what you're thinking. How can we predict E3 if it already happened? Well, that's where I got you. I got them all right here on this VHS tape. So now it's time to watch Cynda's E3 2021 Nintendo predictions on VHS! Starting off, we get a Smash reveal, since Pyra and Mythra have been out for a while now, and announcing a new Smash character at E3 is a really good move, considering you have both your core and casual audience likely tuned in. I have literally no idea who it could be, though, so we'll just say Crash Bandicoot since he's cool. Yeah! Crash! Wow! Sakurai Direct the next day. Then after that adrenaline rush, we'll get our traditional E3 intro, then we'll see some smaller announcements here and there, like a normal Nintendo Direct. A few fun indie games, some interesting smaller titles, and then they'll drop Metroid Prime 4, that's right. Let's go! I love Metroid! Marry me, Samus! This year's the year. They rebooted the project in 2019, assuming they reuse assets and gameplay from earlier development. We'll likely see something about the game, even if it is just a, we're still working guys, don't worry. Release window mid-2022. Delay very likely. Then, we'll see an announcement for a much smaller release to help fill out 2021. I'm thinking something like a new F-Zero, yeah! Oh, driving! Or much more likely, something along the lines of a big remake or a significantly enhanced Wii U port like Pikmin 3 Deluxe was. No! Not a $60 Wii game! And while some people think that Nintendo needs a huge holiday release, and they're not wrong, a huge holiday release is a really smart move. First-party Nintendo hasn't really had a big holiday game in a while. Pokemon has really carried that torch for both 2018 and 19. So I'm not expecting anything huge for holiday 2021, but early 2022, oh boy. After that announcement, Nintendo is going to reveal the Switch Pro, yeah! Video game consoles, let's go! And then a launch title for the Pro, Breath of the Wild 2, baby! Now, not to be confusing, Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to be Pro exclusive. It will, however, be Pro Enhanced, with a much higher resolution and frame rate. And both will release on the same day, in early to mid-2022, very similarly to the original Breath of the Wild, released with the Switch. And end things off, another Smash reveal. I don't know, Thanos from Fortnite, release date November 2021. Seriously, we haven't had a Nintendo Direct that was packed with that many announcements since like 2017. There was just so much announced here compared to recent Directs that typically only have one or two games at the beginning and the end. But this had all kinds of awesome announcements sprinkled throughout. So I'm going to take the time to go through each of the big announcements and tell you guys what I think of each. Tekken is coming to Smash, and he looks like another Terry Ryu Ken style fighter who can't approach and has awful aerial mobility and insane skill cap combos. Yikes. So apparently, before the announcement, the guy said that there was going to be a new Metroid game to fill the wait for Prime 4. I didn't hear that part, so I was completely taken by surprise. Then, the Metroid 5 was an insane reveal, since the last brand new 2D Metroid game was actually Fusion on GBA in 2002. Then, they revealed that the name was Metroid Dread, which is the game that has been cancelled and rumored to exist like 4 different times, and I think we all just assumed it was cancelled, until nope, Nintendo brought the game back out of cancellation and let Mercury Steam develop it. And frankly, I think letting Mercury Steam take over 2D Metroid is great, since it lets this talented studio work on the series and not only grow their name, but also, since 2D Metroid isn't always the most popular series, outsourcing the series allows more 2D Metroid games to exist, since Nintendo's in-house development team will likely have a low-income series like Metroid lower on their priorities list, so giving it to another company is a really smart move. But the game itself looks absolutely fantastic. It seems to take a lot of inspiration from Metroid Samus Returns in its gameplay style, with moves like the melee counter and free aim mode coming back, but there's also this super cool dash melee counter that looks super fun to use. I love how kinetic it looks and provides some really cool movement in the sometimes stiff Metroid series. Same goes for the new Mega Man style slide move. This thing looks awesome and a blast to use. So according to the trailer and gameplay shown after E3, there's this brand new enemy thing called the Emmy. This dude seems to be based off the SAX from Fusion, where the idea of a hyper-powerful Doom robot thing that chases Samus carries over. Now I have a concern about this. I hope this thing doesn't ruin the game. I want tension, not, oh, I can't believe I have to deal with this. But the SAX in Fusion was almost like an interactive cutscene that happened a few times throughout the game, so hopefully these Emmy things aren't everywhere. But Samus has an Omega Blaster to disable them, as seen in the E3 footage, which is cool, but hopefully the Emmys don't become annoying instead of tense. In conclusion, I'm incredibly hyped to see how Mercury Steam pushes the Metroid series forwards in Dread. Since Samus Returns was really good, I'm pretty confident they can make another rockin' Metroid game. Mario Party is back, baby! Yeah! This one is really interesting, being a best-of collection of not only minigames, but also boards. I think this is what everyone wanted the top 100 to be, and while I think I was the only person on the planet who actually liked the top 100, I definitely agree only having the minigames kinda sucked. It's like eating a sandwich without the bread. So Superstars being the good top 100 is fine by me, since it really does look good. Plus, it's using different minigames than top 100, which is great since they really could have gotten away with just porting those minigames to Switch. But overall, this game is looking to be really solid, although there's only 5 boards. And I wish there were just a few more, like 6 or 7 would be incredible, since that's about the average for the series. Brand new WarioWare, let's go! I absolutely adore the WarioWare series, and I was not expecting a new release, especially since Gold came out around 3 years ago. I was thinking we'd see a new one in like another year or two, but no, Get It Together comes out in September. So the gimmick of this game is that you pick a character and play microgames as that character. So that means that a certain character fits certain microgames better, and that allows for some really interesting gameplay ideas. And while I wasn't originally on board, considering that something like this wasn't done before in the series, upon further consideration, this idea actually sounds really interesting and fun, considering that each character will essentially make each microgame a unique experience. And since WarioWare is based around figuring out how the controls work in order to complete the objective, with a bunch of different control schemes that makes each microgame feel extremely different. Plus there's co-op now, and while I'm not typically a big co-op guy, there are a ton of people who are, and now it's an option, which is great. I feel like co-op works really well with something like WarioWare, since there's that sort of chaotic element where you're trying to figure out how a microgame works, and it should allow for some really cool teamwork. Okay, here's a hot take for Zelda's 35th anniversary. I like the Game & Watch a lot. Almost exclusively for Link's Awakening, because that game is actually really long for a Game Boy game, and it brings a lot of value to an otherwise somewhat disappointing package. And that's what bothered me about the Mario Game & Watch. Like, just Super Mario Bros., the lost levels, and a reskin of Game & Watch Ball. I feel like for the price there should be more content. Like if they put Super Mario Bros. 3 in there, that'd be crazy. But that's why I really like the Zelda Game & Watch, is because of the value. Skyward Sword HD, I don't like the price tag, but oh well. It's just Nintendo being Nintendo. But the Amiibo, on the other hand, is a touch on the scummy side. I mean, come on, this thing has already been scalped to the moon and back, and is currently averaging about $60 on eBay. But also locking fast travel behind it? Really? Also, I hope we see some more changes in Skyward Sword HD, since it looks to be an almost copy-paste kind of deal right now. Here we go, fellas, Breath of the Wild 2, and whoa! This game looks really cool, but there are a few problems I have with it. First of all, I hope the floating islands have depth and aren't just cool things to jump around on like in Skyward Sword. Second, hopefully the overworld has more changes, and while I understand why they totally want to reuse the old world since they spent so much development time on it, I hope there are a few changes in order to satisfy the old fans of Breath of the Wild who have sunk 500 hours into the old world. And finally, I hope it's good. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the original Breath of the Wild was something truly special, and I hope 2 can live up to those expectations. So, Nintendo's E3 2021 was, frankly, fantastic. I went in with not the highest expectations, but how in the world could I be disappointed? We got a new WarioWare!